Pressure Washing Institute contractors first. Man, what a week after the TChem event. It has been unbelievable. You haven't seen me online a lot, but I decided to, with my first debut online, my return, I'm here with my buddy Ryan Cash. Ryan, for these guys that don't know who you are, tell them a little bit about the yourself, and also tell them about the this one. Tell them about the RoofTEC. Tell them about the RoofTEC machine. Tell them it's not just a roof cleaning machine. That that part drives me nuts.
Yeah, I know you're not a fan of the name, but my background, I'll give you the 30-second background. I did exterior cleaning for 10 years. Got hired by a company called Legend Brands to start working on some of our commercial roof cleaning equipment. That quickly switched over to looking at residential equipment, and so we have the RoofTEC XCS 500. It's an exterior cleaning system. It pretty much does everything you want it to. You can soft wash with it. You can pressure wash with it. Fully adjustable pressure and chemical ratios. It's all done with one pump. So one pump, one hose, one spray gun. Really just cuts down on the need for having more than one system and multiple hoses. And it's the all-in-one system.
I bet I sound a lot better, don't I?
Yeah, it sounds better now.
Yeah, it doesn't sound as tinny. Yeah, I didn't have my headset on. I had my speakers on, but I didn't have my headset on. So, guys, you know the gamut here, man. I don't have a closer shirt or a closer hat or a winter shirt with me right this second. Nothing in reach. But, guys, if you want a Pressure Washing Institute shirt tonight, and then you know what? We're going to give a couple gallons of RoofTEC away as also. Now, what is this? Now, first of all, where can they see this machine next? What are the dates?
Yeah, so upcoming, we've got the huge convention in Nashville. That's 2 weeks from Wednesday, I think. I think it's the 17th and 18th of August. After that, I'll actually be at a show mainly for carpet cleaning, but we're going to be there also called The Experience. That's in Las Vegas. That is September, I think, 8th and 9th.
I hope I spelled Nashville right. And then you're going to be in Las Vegas. That's easy. I can't mess that up. I shouldn't be able to mess that up.
Yeah, that one's not really geared towards pressure washing guys. That one's more for carpet cleaners and other industries. But we'll be there if you want to come by anyway.
Las Vegas, and that's September
8th and 9th, I believe. And then after that, we will be at the CWA CETA show. That is October. You probably know that date better than I do. October
I don't know it, man. I think it's 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th, but I'm not positive of it, man.
Yeah,
I know I'm going to the show, but I don't know what it is. But since you talked about that show, man, I'm going to give it a plug because guys have to understand, man. This is going to be the biggest industry exterior cleaning event that ever existed in our industry history. We've got the UAMCC, the IWCA, the PWNA, and CETA all under one power clean roof, which is going to be absolutely crazy if everybody can imagine that. I mean, all I got to tell guys is if they ever went to an amazing UMCC event where there was 800 to 1,100 people, or a PWNA event that had 45 or 50, I'm just kidding, PWNA. Then we'll have instead of having 1,150, we'll have 1,200 people there. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. I got to joke with the PWNA
you're gonna make some people mad.
I got to joke with the PWNA guys. But anyways, the funny thing is we signed up in the TChem event. We signed up 22 new PWNA members, which is kind of cool. And I'm a PWNA member, IWC. I'm everybody. I'm a member of every association, so it doesn't really matter what association I can talk smack about. I can talk smack about all of them. They all have their pros and their cons, and that's what I always tell people. The biggest thing you can do is join one of them. Even though I have a little bit preference over with the UMCC for obvious reasons, but the reality of it is I always tell guys, it doesn't matter which one you belong to. Just belong to your industry organization, man. I mean, it's something that's good on your resume. It's good to be a part of something. And as well as I do, man. How many guys have you networked with these associations and meetings? Where would you be now if you hadn't, right? I mean, you wouldn't know all these guys that you know.
Exactly. Yeah, nobody. Looking at the just the other day I was looking at the floor map of the CETA PW&A show, and yeah, I was blown away by how many vendors are going to be there, and yeah, it looks like it's going to be a really good show. Lots of really cool things to see there.
Yeah,
Also,
what's kind of cool about it too is in the carpet cleaning business and the pressure washing. There's a lot of vendors like Steel Eagle, General Pump. I mean, AR, all these big companies that are there, and then some of the vacuum companies that build. They build vacuums for our industry. They build vacuums for the carpet cleaning industry, and when it all boils down to it, let's let the cat out of the bag. A carpet cleaning machine is just a 1,000 psi pressure washer at a few gallons a minute. That's it. Instead of 8 gallons a minute at 3,500, it's 1,000 psi at. Am I right? Is it 1,000 or is it more than 1,000?
I think our big one, our 870, I think goes up to 1,500.
Ooh, 1,500. Man.
But yeah, I mean, it's a low pressure washer, and throw a vacuum on there, and you got
there it is, man. I mean, and I don't think a lot of guys just don't understand that. Now they do, I guess. Yeah. We got some guys that said they'll be in Nashville. I think Trudy says she'll be in Nashville. Sean Gross, what's up, man? Alejandro, man, how you doing? He's always on the lives. I don't know how many shirts he's won now, but maybe he'll try. I want to tell you guys something. If you guys want to try any one of the Rooftech products, man, chime in the video here. If you want to win one, we'll send you a gallon of it. But we're going to put a little disclaimer on it. We really want to get some feedback. So whether it's a video, a picture, a blog, something in text, words, video of saying, hey, what was your experience with it? Obviously, if it was a good experience. If it was a bad experience, don't say anything. Just
keep it to yourself.
Just remain silent.
No, honestly, at that point, like I welcome all positive and negative feedback because we only want to make it better. And we've got a really great chemist, and if we find out that something's not quite right with it, he can easily adjust formulas and change things and make it better. So we want any and all feedback. But also, yeah, for speaking of that, I typed in the chat. I don't know if you can see or not. If you go to
Jiggy's got a funny name, but he's right up there by you, man. He's up there in Oregon. He's close to you. Okay. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
Pete, however, is not. He's outside of Chicago, Naperville, I believe. I don't know if you've ever been in Naperville, but he wants one. I don't know, Pete. I don't know. If he would be a good one if we could get a good testimony out of him. I just don't know how he'd use the product. That's the funniest thing. Yeah. What's up, Pete? How you doing, man? But guys, ask a couple of questions. If you get some questions, I'm gonna have some shirts to give away. I'm also gonna let you choose I'm gonna give a couple gallons of any other chemical that you want to win on the planet. If you just name a chemical, we'll make it happen and we'll get it to you. Everybody always goes, I don't know which ones because we don't know which one Ron has. I have them all. I have like 3,000 gallons of chemicals to give away, man. We will figure it out, right? Yeah. So what they don't really understand though on this system, okay? And if my specs are wrong, Ryan, you can just correct me. But this is a 2,000 psi. It's a cold water unit. It's about 5.5 to 6 gallons, or is it 5.5?
It's spec'd at 5.5, but specs, that's manufacturer specs. It's probably 5 is
okay.
What
So 5. So it's a 5 GPM, 2,000 psi. Now the one thing about this thing is that you can go from 100 psi all the way to 2,000 psi,
100 to 2,500.
100 to 2,500. Okay. Yeah. So it's 2,500. So, and 2,500 is not a joke. Everybody always thinks I got to have 4,000 PSI. No, you don't. And I'm not going to tell you you're not going to clean faster with a 2,000 or 2,500 PSI than you are going to be on concrete with a 3,000 or 4,000 PSI, of course. But reality is this is a designed exterior residential type of machine. This isn't a machine that was built to clean 500,000 square foot of concrete a night, right? I mean, it's just that's not what it was built to do. It was built to do some patio decks, some pool, some pool stuff, maybe some front walkways, driveway, stuff like that. And guys, 2,500 PSI is going to get it done. I'll tell you a little bit of a secret. When I first started, heat had just merged with pressure. Yeah, back in the 1900s. Okay, and
Yeah,
it was
probably good hot water
2000.
machine.
It was 2000. Okay, we jumped from a 2-gallon minute. We jumped from 2,000 psi all the way to 4. Man,
So
it was
you probably paid,
4.
yeah, you probably paid
4.
like $8,000 for it too.
19. We were like, it was crazy. It was $19,000 because it was a hot water skid. It was a hot water skid. And man, I was like, in that same skid now. Well, in the market now, it was 50. They all went down like $4,800, but now they're back up at 8,000 and 9,000 now. But because of what we're seeing in the market. But that's funny. When I first bought that, it's like a DVD player, right? Being like $1,700. And then now if you can find one at Walmart, they're like what, $35 or something like that,
Right,
but that's the reality of it. I mean, it's just crazy stuff, man. Pete wants some information on this unit. He's not going to buy it, but you can get him some. It's just not, Pete, I'm just honest with you. It's not your unit, man. It's not going to be a good unit for you. It's not going to be a good fit. He's a residential guy, but he does a lot of commercial concrete cleaning, and he loves trailers. So,
we've got a guy, I don't know if you know him or not, John Haustein in Chattanooga. He does, he's actually more in his hat. It's U.S. Rope Access. They do some commercial work with it. He'll do hotels, but he's got it hooked up to his drone, and they do all kinds of cool stuff with that. So it's certainly doable, but if you're doing mainly commercial work, it's like Ron said, it's not the machine for you. You want 10, 12 gallons a minute. You want to be blazing through concrete. This is kind of ideally set up for residential. So you can do the roofs, you can do siding, you can do decks, driveways, fences, anything residential. This is kind of the one-stop shop, and it's got the regulator and gauge on there, so you can set the pressure.
Now, I wouldn't be afraid. I wouldn't be afraid to say. It could be a maintenance commercial unit. Like if you'd already had something cleaned and you were doing like regular maintenance once a week or twice a week, twice a month, something like that. I think if it went more than monthly, it's probably not going to be a good choice. But if you had something that was being maintained and it was cleaned up the first time properly, I think the rig is a great rig, because the one thing I love about this rig is, and these guys still don't understand, it's a tri-plunger pump. It's a general pump, right? And it pumps. They don't understand. It's a pressure pump. We're not going to get too sophisticated. That will actually draw chems right through the pump. Okay, and it pumps it right through the pump and then out to your wand, and whatever you want to do, wand, surface cleaner. Because here we go again. You can hook up a soft wash wand to it. You can hook up a pressure washing wand to it. You can hook up a surface cleaner to it. You can not hook up a surface cleaner to it. And I don't think that's what is different about this machine. Everybody's gonna go, what's the big deal, Ron? It's a soft washing unit with a pressure washer. No, it only has one power plant. It has is it a 14 horse Kohler?
14 horse, yeah.
14 horse Kohler with a big old, I'm going to tell you right now, Ryan, I looked at that pump. That pump, and I keep saying this, and we don't know if you're going to get another generation. I think that pump can be powered by an 18 horse easily and put out the 3,500 that everybody wants. And you could still reduce it back. We can still put a regulator on there and reduce the pressure down. Now I'm excited that I hope they come out with something like that, because I think that's going to be the combination that's going to say, it's crossed all avenues of washing, guys.
Yeah, we certainly talk about that some. I know right now, and with this machine, I understand most guys who do residential, even the guys who have like the 4,000 PSI machine, they're tipping it down to 2,500 PSI anyway. And so for us, it wasn't really for this first kind of iteration of the machine, it wasn't really necessary to go over 2,500 PSI. And like you said, maybe down the road we'll look at a higher gallon a minute, higher PSI machine. But for this, we feel like it was just a really good starting point and gets everybody in the door and getting some work done.
Jiggy, like I said, I don't want to say you can't use this for commercial. It's just not as efficient as something could be for commercial. It's highly efficient for residential because you're not messing around. The guys that are messing around with soft wash, they got to have a pressure washer. This has got everything all in one machine, It's very sexy. It's light duty. You know, we don't have a stinking picture of that thing. I don't know why I didn't have it.
I sent you one a while ago.
I know you did. You know what? I might surf I'm going to stalk your thing here. Go ahead and take the mic. I want to see if I can find this picture of the unit. That way we can show people. I kind of took it upon myself thinking the truck kind of showed it, but it really doesn't. You know, it's a sharp looking truck you got, but really can't see the unit.
Here, I'll send you a copy of it, the photo right now too.
If you send me a photo of it, man, I will have it up lickety split. Talk about the beakers you got right there, man. Let's see what you're talking about with that.
So this is a photo I posted a couple of days ago, and I kind of just posted it without any context, just to see if anybody would say anything about it or kind of be curious about what it is. And so what this is, there's 3 beakers here, and I learned from our chemist those are called beakers. They're not flasks or whatever. They're technically beakers.
I called them beakers. I said they were beakers.
You're spot on. They're beakers. They're graduated beakers and made out of some special glass. I don't know the glass type, but he could tell you all about it. But essentially what we have in them is we have a 50-50 mix of 12% bleach and water. And then in the 3 of them, we dropped a couple stainless washers and bolts. I think they're 304 stainless. But the first one is just the bleach only. And this is after they've been sitting for about 4 days. So the picture's kind of hard to see. I know I can post it up again too, so you guys can see it. A blown up picture. But the first one there is just bleach alone, bleach and water alone with the hardware in there, and that just made me really big.
I was trying to get it bigger, but it's not cooperating with me. It really isn't.
Yeah, I'll post it separately. But what you see after about 4 days is even like the stainless and the galvanized. I think it's a galvanized washer. They are just absolutely getting destroyed by the bleach. They're being corroded. They're leaching off.
I should know your website by now. It's RoofTEC.
RooftechSystems.net.
I got it.
But yeah, so you can see after 4 days
guys that want it, so we'll
that
throw it up.
bolt is completely just rusted over and corroded out. The second beaker there, it's the exact same mix put in at the exact same time. But that one has the equivalent of running our surfactant through the machine at 2 gallons an hour. And you can see it's a pretty noticeable difference. There is still some corrosion on it. But then the third one there, that's as if you were running our surfactant at 4 gallons an hour. So I think that's about 1 to 100 parts, 1 to 100 or so. And what we
the problem with this. Here's the problem with what you're telling everybody. So I did a demo at the TChem event, and I was showing people how this chemical doesn't attack metals, doesn't attack like different things on substrates and stuff like that. At the end of the day, simplify what this means, because a lot of guys, they don't care about that, and to you and me, it's kind of crazy. But why wouldn't you be concerned? Why would you want to come back to somebody's property destroyed a year later? You know what I mean? Because they don't understand it's going to continue to keep eating it, right? I mean, the bottom line.
Yeah, there's really 2 concerns here. One is the property. If you get a bunch of bleach on something on the property, some metal on the property, aluminum, you can easily oxidize it out and cause rusting and problems. And what this does, it's got a corrosion inhibitor, so it doesn't stop the corrosion, but it slows it down long enough for you to get the job done and then go and do your rinse or your neutralization or whatever. But so not only the customer's property, but your equipment as well. And particularly with our machine, since you're running bleach through the pump, it holds up really, really well, but this is going to help just prolong the life even better.
Going to extend the life of the equipment, extend the life of different substrates on customers' properties, which I know to you, I know the kind of person you are, and that concerns you just like it concerns me. There are so many of these guys in this industry, they don't care. They just go, no, man, I just cleaned it. We nuked it. It's clean now. I got my check. I don't care if the awnings fall off the building in 6 months. I don't care if the bridge falls down. I can say this. I won't say this, but I'm not going to say where it was. But there's a bridge we all know that collapsed and killed 6 people on a university. And they equated it to people, the cleaning agents that they were using. And of course, we already know if the steel failed, if the fasteners failed, it was because of sodium hypochlorite, bleach. It's what did it. Here's another one. With that condo during the pandemic, that the floors fell out from underneath of it down in Miami, and they hurt all those people. That's all. You can go back and look at the investigation. The swimming pool on the upper deck was leaking and leaching down the girders on the inside of the building. And guess what? Yeah. It collapsed.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter if it's stainless steel or not, or even high grade like 316 stainless, the bleach will eventually get to it. And so,
bleach
that's why we recommend our surfactant, whether you're using our equipment or not. It's got corrosion inhibitors in it that's going to just help your equipment, but also help the property and help.
Oh, I love this. I love this question. Can the Rooftech cleaning machine use a surface cleaner at 2,500 PSI?
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a video out there of me using it at 2,500
PSI. Yeah, I think the one you brought was 20 inches for that video. But yeah, we recommend just what they say. 1 inch.
It worked. It worked.
Yeah, it'll spin a good pre-treatment or post-treatment of bleach will leave you with no lap lines. And but yeah, 20 inch surface cleaner with the machine, and yeah, we'll run 2,500 PSI pretty easily.
Maybe Alejandro's just trying to win another shirt. Maybe he knew. Maybe he knew the answer to his own question. Can you read that one or not?
From Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah, Marco actually taught me that you can't use SH cleaning parking structures. I don't want to be liable for anyone getting hurt. Yeah, that goes to exactly what you were saying is, just with all the steel and metal framing in those, it's a big liability. I think you can get away with it with neutralizers and if you know what you're doing, but I'd say most guys who are doing it, they go there, they spray it and rinse it off and leave. And they may not understand that even after you leave, the bleach is still going to have some effect for a while. And the salts, even after it fully degrades, you've got salts and everything that you're putting down on the ground that can. There's a picture of the machine.
I just can't get a good picture of that machine. You know, it's the background that I have too. I have a horrible background for us to look at that thing. Let's see if I can find it. Let's see if I can find another background that like better than that one. That one was horrible.
It's all good, but
oh my gosh, look at the background that I have. Why did I not have that up?
That was kind of the key with this. You can kind of see from that picture is the whole concept of this was to simplify things. I see all the time like guys in the field who are building machines and they're building from themselves as they're getting more and more complicated. You look, there's 20,000 hoses going in different directions and plugging in different things and 30 or 40 hose reels. And our concept of this was let's simplify it. And I think there's two people who will really like that the most. One is if you're brand new to this industry, you want something simple. You want to know that you turn the key, it turns on, it starts spraying, and there's not many moving parts to it. And then I think the other guy that's going to like this a lot is the guy who's been doing this for like 20 or 30 years, who now has 4 or 5 trucks in the field and they want something simple. They don't want the complication. They don't want every truck to have a different setup. They just want something. They throw in a truck. Every tech has the same system and they know how it's going to work easily.
So this raises this question, right? So what is the proof of concept as far as where are we at with it, man? I mean, are we proving that this machine is worthy, and are there guys out there making thousands of dollars with it every week, or have you not sold any and we don't know if it's even any good?
No, we've got a few in the field now. I'm actually down here in Pensacola, Florida right now, heading out the next 3 days with one of the guys who's got a machine, just do some cleaning with them. We're going to test the machine and just get some more hands-on field testing on it, because a lot of the testing we did was kind of in our enclosed environment. So we're going to get some eyes on the machine in the field. We're also testing a couple upgrades that we're thinking about adding to the machine.
This is a guy named Sean Gross. You might meet him at the Huge. He probably be there. I don't think he's ever missed a Huge in Tennessee because he's from the Nashville area, I believe. I still think he still lives there. And he's asking, does this thing fit in a short bed? And be honest with you, I don't know the answer to that, but I believe it does.
Yeah, it is 59 inches long. So I think most short bed trucks it will fit in. It'll be pretty tight. Really, the issue with short bed trucks is usually a half ton, and what you get into that is the payload capacity is normally going to be like 1,600 to 1,800 pounds, and fully loaded.
So you're walking the wire with the short bed half ton truck.
Yeah,
Okay.
fully loaded down. This machine's about 1,800 pounds. So yeah, it's more about the weight, and if you want to put that weight on your.
I love this question, man. I mean, I guess you can explain how this thing works, but I mean, it's just like, I mean, isn't it just a proportioning system like any other soft wash system has?
More or less, yeah. It's got
Except
the same,
it's a pressure washer.
yeah. It's got the same VF valves for the bleach in the water that every other system has. Ours has a slightly different uh, valve for the surfactant. It's a really fine-tuned 10-gallon-hour float valve, so you can actually visibly read out how much surfactant you're putting through. But essentially mixes it in line, and the pump just sucks it through the manifold at the right proportion and injects it through the pump. So it's really not super complicated. It's pretty easy.
The answer to this question, Pete, is yes. But why would you want to put this thing on a trailer when you could have it look like this in your truck? I mean, come on, man.
Yeah,
Come on.
I will say I like the look of it on a truck. It makes it real streamlined. I will say if you are using your truck not just for work, then that's when I might throw it on a trailer. If you want to be able to drop the trailer off at home and run to the grocery store and throw your kids in the back seat, then that's what I'd probably throw in a trailer. So you can
tote around on, man. Come on,
but
just throw them in the back seat with the extra gallons of chemicals back
there.
there,
You
the
go,
pump up
exactly.
sprayers,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, but my preference is the truck though. I think it looks real clean in a truck, so that's what I'm always going to suggest. And
I like the truck.
Ton standard bed is kind of ideal for it.
I like the truck. I love the colors. I love the branding. The Rooftech. I just, everybody knows I just don't like the name because the dang thing is not just a roof cleaning machine. This thing will do this. This is a machine that does it all, guys. And I'll tell you what. I'm not going to mention any names because I'm not privy to it. But like, I was with Ryan in January this year. They came out and I think they sold like 5 units at this show down at the Panhandle event. And I know a couple buddies of mine that bought it, and I actually got some feedback from them right now, and they really do like the machine. And like Ryan's saying, he sees that some of these bigger residential contractors are going to be moving forward. And some of the reasons why is it's a very replicatable processes. You can train employees because there's not a lot of bells and whistles on this thing. It's very, very simple, very, very basic. Where, I mean, I'm going to tell a little bit of a story. Back in the invention of the soft wash cradle skids, I was at an event and somebody had just got delivered their brand new soft wash skid, and they come up to me and say, "Hey, Ron, how do you operate this thing?" And I was like, "I have no idea. There's so many levers and switches and buttons and stuff like that." And then the guy who invents the thing comes over and he can't even operate the thing, man. And I was like, "Okay, yeah. I'm out of here, man." I mean, I got like that's just that because when we're talking, you want to scale your business, and I know I don't want to mention the big boys in the carpet cleaning business that you guys outfit, but if you go look at their equipment, and I know you have, Ryan, it's very simple. I mean, they probably have had you guys as the big boys in the carpet cleaning industry sometimes tone the bells and whistles and the switches down on their stuff and say, "Hey, look, give me some basic units with the on and off and a switch here and a switch there," because I've seen some of those carpet cleaning machines, and I'm going to tell you right now, it looks like you have to be an astronaut in NASA, the way with all the gauges and bells and whistles on these things, and and I look at that stuff and I'm like, oh man, I just want to clean some carpet, man. Give me an on and off switch, a burner switch, and let's go and put some gauges on there so I know that I'm getting the right, the right temperatures and the right pressure. But I don't need all that stuff that they put on these things nowadays. It's absolutely, it's ridiculous. And getting back to the original deal here is these guys that I know that are larger residential contractors see this machine as a very easy way they can scale and replicate a process. Very easy.
And just kind of having a similar story. So we just sold a machine down in Portland, or I guess most people probably say up in Portland, but it's down for me. We just sold one in Portland maybe 2 weeks ago to a carpet cleaning company. They were looking, what they always say, that there's a few ways to grow your business. You either expand your services, expand your customers, or raise your prices. And so they chose the kind of the easiest of the three, which is expand their services. So they're a real big high-end carpet cleaning company, and they wanted to expand their services. So they bought our machine, and I spent half a day in the field with them training, and then about half a day in the classroom training, and felt like they were totally competent to go do the work themselves from here on out.
Well, you got a question here, but and it's about the pump. It's basically about the pump longevity, I believe. And they're asking, do you flush out the pump? Do you do any of that stuff? Now, I'm going to tell you right now, guys, I would never flush the pump out. Ryan's always going to be saying, yes, obviously flush out the pump because it's going to increase the life of the pump. And I'm the guy that, what I mean? I only add oil. I don't change the oil. You know what I mean? Like, so asking me that question, I'm going to tell you, just run that thing until it runs off the rails, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just buy another one.
Be as rough on it as you can and intentionally destroy it so I can say another one. No, for our pump, one, it's got a 2-year warranty. So that just off the bat, we've got a 2-year warranty on it. And then
I don't even think regular pumps have a 2-year warranty, do they?
Yeah, who knows?
I mean, here, okay, I won't mention any names. Hey, man, come get our soft wash, our soft wash skid. Here it is, man. Come get it. But if you put any bleach in it, the warranty's over.
Yeah, so ours has a 2-year warranty. We did 500 hours of testing on it of just straight bleach in it.
And you can put bleach in it, right? The warranty's still good if you put bleach in it. Thank goodness. I thought maybe you're going to tell me, but if you put bleach in it, it's no good.
No, yeah. After 500 hours, it still looked brand new, and that was with just cycling 12% bleach through it. And so, especially add our surfactant. And my recommended is to rinse it out every day, but hopefully if you're cleaning siding, you're rinsing it out anyway.
My recommendation is just keep going and don't rinse it and just run it off. It's got a 2-year warranty, man. Don't rinse it. Don't worry about it. Hey, can you ship out of state to Chicago? Absolutely.
Yep.
I'm going to give you Pete's number so you can get a credit card from him. I don't know what the shipping is going to cost you, but I think the rigs retail for, I don't know, $100,000 or something a piece. I don't know, something like that. But here's a good, I'll definitely get you Pete's number so you can talk to him. But I'm telling you, I know he's not going to buy it. I'm just telling you that right now, but hey, he might. He spent a lot of money. He bought a power line. I don't know if you know Power Line Company, but he bought a power line rig a few years back. This is a pretty good question right here. Basically, this is just summing this one up. He just wants to know if immediate changes were to be made right now, what do you think they should be? And I don't know, maybe Ryan doesn't want to answer that question because he probably is like me. He's thinking, man, if that was an 18-horse motor, it opens it up to a lot more people at 3,500 PSI than it does at 20. Is that a big one, or do you think there's some other things you want to change?
Yeah, I would say with this machine, there's not a whole lot I would change. I think for version 2.0 or whatever the next iteration of it is, there may be things. I certainly am always interested in looking at remote shutoff and things like that. Also, certainly a 8 or 10 gallon machine would be awesome. It'd serve kind of a different purpose, and so that's why I wouldn't say I would necessarily want it for this machine.
But we could still put a remote draw system on it, right? I mean, you could still do that.
Yeah,
I mean,
there's certainly ways you could do something.
And people don't understand this too. You can downstream with this. You can XJet with this. You can still do all those things with it. It'll do all those things. But here's the reason why. Why would you do all those things when you can proportion the chemicals at the perfect rate and put them on with this machine? And that's the whole point. You don't need the XJ. You don't need it. And here's okay. So getting back to this, if you're doing probably condos or lift work, this machine might be a better machine because downstreaming don't work in that situation. The only XJet does, but you got to, I mean, and that's about the only thing that you do, but you still, now you're taking your chemicals in a bucket up with you in the lift, where I think that this machine, and we haven't tested it per se, but I'm going to keep my eyes open for it. If guys are cleaning 3-4 story buildings with this machine, it might be more efficient and more effective because of the way it is set up. I mean, and the ideal thing. Now, is that going to be a factor when they start going 250 feet out and they're 2 stories up, or do you not even know the answer to that question yet?
No, our guy in Chattanooga ran with a drone probably 10 or 12 stories up. No
10
problem.
or 12 stories with a drone. There you go. And
Yeah.
and it worked. That's good. That's good info, man.
Yeah, it comes with 200 feet of hose. So yeah, if you're going higher than that, you'd obviously want more hose. But I mean, it's a general pressure pump. Is if the pump will push it out to the hose, it doesn't matter how high it goes. It will shoot it plenty high. About 35 feet on normal uses out of the end of the gun. So yeah, most like 1 and 2 story homes you can do from the ground, including the roof. Yeah, Greg asked or kind of brought up the buffer tank. I know that may be another question some people have, why we chose a 12-gallon buffer tank and not a 50 or 100-gallon buffer tank. And the reason for that is for what we've seen in all of our testing and in the field, honestly, 12 gallons is enough. Most homes you're getting 4 to 5 gallons a minute out of the spigot, some even higher. I get about 7 or 8 out of mine at home. But even at like 4 gallons a minute, that gives you plenty of time. And if you have really low water pressure, if you're doing some out farmland where you need to pressure wash or something, you can always put extra water. You could just fill the 100-gallon bleach tank, use that as a big buffer tank if you wanted to. You could do a batch mix or however you want. It's pretty versatile. But especially with soft washing, you're going to be spraying for about a minute and then you're off the hose and you're moving and spraying again. And so in all of our testing, I haven't had anybody say I didn't have enough water supply for what I was doing. Now, again, if you're doing a big commercial parking garage, that wouldn't be the case. But like I said, I wouldn't use our machine for that anyway. Is the chemical drawn by Venturi? The pump creates suction. It's not Venturi. So Venturi would be all like the downstream injectors of the XJet. This pump draws it through a manifold to create suction.
People don't know that pressure washing pumps suck. Literally, they suck.
Right.
People don't know that. That's why when people say all the time you need a gravity feed, you can argue that. No, you don't need a gravity feed. You need an airline tight, basically, tube, whatever you want to call it, hose to get it there. I mean, because it's gonna siphon it. I mean, no matter where it's at. I mean, it can be lower, it can be higher. Now, is it going to affect the performance of the pump? If your 10,000 gallon tank's full, the pump's going to run obviously easier. If it's low, if it's lower than if the pump's higher than the tank, and now the water's gone down lower, and you only got 50 gallons in the tank, it's probably going to pull harder, and performance may change because people don't realize that's what's going to affect performance. Because I always joke around about this proportioning stuff because it's really not. There's so many variables in the system that cause or could affect the proportioning. People don't realize that because gravity, sometimes not gravity in the sense that we're looking for gravity to feed something, but the weight of the liquid or the fluid can eat, it's going to make suction easier. I mean, right? I mean, isn't that right? I mean, and I don't think people understand or take that into account. Like, so you got a full tank of SH. Okay. You put the valve on 2. You're going to get certain amount of mix until it gets to a half a tank. And then your mix might change. I mean, it may change and a lot of times guys don't realize it did change, but it didn't make a significant difference in your cleaning that you never realized it changed. And I don't think guys ever think about that stuff. And then of course, how you route valves, fittings that you use in inline. I mean, if you're going to cut a fitting down, you're going right away from you got a 3/4 or 5/8 inch line, and you cut it to a 1/4 on an inlet into. I mean, come on, you got to be realistic. you're restricting the flow. So guess what? You're going to restrict the amount of solution that's pumping through there. And guys, I laugh all the time because some guys go, I got 1 inch, man, all the way from the tank to the pump. And then you're like, okay, but at the day's end, it's 3/8 or 1/2 inch at the pump. You know, I mean,
yeah, it's got a 1/2 inch inlet on the pump anyway. So.
That's it, right? You know, it's like I'm like, that's great. You got a lot of water flow to that pump, but like at the day's end, it's going in there, and the hose is coming out 3/8. You know, and a lot of times most people don't even know the gun valve's even smaller than that. You know what I mean? Like when you get it to the gun valve, and that's why I always sit there. That's why it blows my mind when these guys talk about these ag guns, and they're agriculture guns, guys. These guns that we're using soft wash, they were made 100 years ago, spraying orchards and fields and stuff like that, and they've been incorporated into what we're, our exterior wash industry. And those guns, when you look at them, and I mean, they start out like 5/8, and you look at them. A lot of times the gun valves are larger on those because they're lower PSI guns, not like they are the high pressure gun that, typically hooks up to a 3/8 inch hose. Really at the day's end, sometimes 1/4 inch. I mean, that's what the gun valve is, a 1/4 inch. There's very few guns in our industry that will maintain. And I will give a tip for one, since guys don't know this. Giant makes an excellent gun valve that's larger than most other companies. And it's rated at 6,000 PSI. I always try to tell guys that, because if you use, because guys all the time will go, Ryan, I don't know if you know this. I don't use a ball valve. I use a Giant gun valve. And I use the gun valve just like you'd use a ball valve, but I use a gun valve instead. You know what I mean? Because I think a gun valve is just a better choice. Even if it's not on a trigger, by design, you can have them, where you pull a handle and it presses down on the gun valve and the gun valve goes. There's all kinds of ways you can hook gun valves differently. And, I prefer that method versus the other one, especially because if you're holding on, I don't like the way some of these service cleaners are, where if you're holding on a service cleaner and it's on, and let's say they bypassed any kind of trigger valve, if you let that thing go, fall down, pass out, have a heart attack, something stupid, you got people coming at you and you need to turn it off. And it's awkward sometimes to try to make that adjustment with a gun valve. If you're working in basically public, I call it public places that are open and you're going to have traffic and things like that. I always think that's it's a little bit more dangerous. Plus, I never could understand why anybody wants to carry that heavy damn thing around.
Was it DN10 or whatever it is?
Yeah. But I'm going to tell you right now, I'm a rare bird, man. 99% of the guys, prefer the ball valve, the DN10 ball valve over a normal gun valve. And
I made some controversy, I guess, in one of the Facebook groups the other day, suggesting that you shouldn't use a ball valve for soft washing or pressure washing. I kind of, and it's the same way I always say, use a trigger gun, mainly for safety for yourself too. If you're pressure washing with a ball valve or even spraying chemical with a ball valve, you drop it, it's going to keep spraying until you go grab the hose and spraying bleach in your eye. And I know there's guys out there who will say, "Oh, I've done this for 20 years and it's never happened to me, so why should I care?" It's like, well,
and then I think 50% of the guys use a gun valve and a ball valve, right? So it's like, man, now you got this thing, and they laugh sometimes because I will use a variable pressure wand. I also prefer that as well. Oh man, that thing's so heavy. I'm like, hey man, it's not as heavy as that gun valve and that ball valve you're carrying around, man. I mean, it's like, it's always fun to argue the science of washing sometimes, because I don't know if you really want to put it into a practical use thing. It's just like this RoofTEC machine. And I'll say this, guys. There is nothing I've seen in 38 years that has been built like this ever. This is the first of its kind. But I can guarantee you this, and I've told Ryan this, don't worry. Somebody is right now mad scientisting, and they're in their garage, they're in their lab, wherever they're at, and they're trying to say, okay, how can we replicate this? How can we get this going? And how can we make a better mousetrap? And that's just ingenuity. That's just going to happen. Everybody's going to do it. But I think that this unit, I don't think there's much you can do to change it. I think that I think, like you said, for the use of the unit, if you are sitting there and saying, I want to, replicate and repeat a process and scale my business, RoofTEC, this all-in-one cleaning system is a very, very good way to do it. And we got to tell them a little bit, man, because you guys deal with all the big boys in the interior cleaning industry. So you understood out of the gate that this simplistic thing had to be done. Otherwise, it was never going to meet that qualification. And
there's a reason why the big companies want simple machines and not extravagant, complicated machines. And that's because they understand the value of simplicity and the reliability of simplicity. And
you mean things won't break on it as much?
Hopefully not, unless you're taking your advice and intentionally breaking it.
No, man. I just say I don't. The funniest thing is guys will cool off their burners, and they'll argue this with me too. They're like, "We're gonna cool that burner down, man, so it doesn't scale up." I'm like, okay. So you're going to stand there for 15 minutes every time you turn this machine on and off the burner, and you're going to cool it down. And I'm like, okay. So how long does it take to descale a machine? Do you know how long it takes, Ryan?
I don't know.
20 minutes, 30 minutes, and you only do it once every 6 months to a year, depending on how bad your water is, right? So I think I'd rather just descale my machine and do like, oh man, don't get the word out here, but Ron Musker is going to do a little regular maintenance, preventive maintenance, and don't sit there 15 minutes every time you want to. Don't worry about that little scale up, because we can just descale it, every 6 months, and we're back to the volume that we need to be. Because guess what, guys, turning it on and off, you're still going to have to descale it in 6 months, because you ain't going to stop. You ain't going to stop the scaling. It's going to happen. And I don't know how carpet cleaning machines work, but I'm sure they scale up too. And they have
I'm sure they do. Yeah, they've got all kinds of stuff running through those. One thing I will say for our machine that's probably worth noting as far as maintenance and upkeep goes is, so the pump itself, it's all 316 stainless, but it's got ceramic heads in it. And so if you do purchase this machine, one just thing to keep in mind is if you run it in bypass for like over half an hour, so if you just let go of the trigger, if you go to talk to the customer, you forget to turn off the machine, over about half an hour is the mark where I would let it cool down before I run the trigger again. And the reason for that being is that ceramic heats up as the water circulates through it. If you hit it with cold water on a really hot ceramic, it's going to crack. And so we've done testing. 30 minutes seems to be about the line where I would say. But yeah, you could run it in bypass all day long and it wouldn't be a problem. You could run the gas engine out of it in bypass and it's not going to hurt the pump. Just the problem comes is when you pull the trigger and reintroduce that cold water. So if it sits for a while in bypass, just let it cool off. But otherwise, yeah, it's really no maintenance to it. I did see there's a couple other questions. Yes,
what do you got?
I said, yes, you do have to go back to the machine to rinse and to shut the soap off. Like I said, I'm certainly looking at other options and abilities to make some remote systems.
How did I miss that question? I still don't see it. Who asked it?
That was Pete who asked that one. And then Sean asked, can you use a caustic degreaser or mild acids in the pump? No, you can't. Acid's not good for ceramic. It's got ceramic heads, like I said. If you absolutely want to run acids with it, go grab an X-Jet or a downstream injector and do it that way. And that way you could still run it. It just wouldn't be going through the pump.
What do you mean, man? This is a soft wash system that we can downstream and X-Jet with? You got to be kidding me.
Yeah, same if you're doing a lot of like fleet washing. I know they kind of have 2-part mixes and stuff. I would probably do some more. I would use the alkaline.
Wow, we can 2-step with this thing, man. It's nuts. It's crazy. Well, where are you at? Tell us where you're at now, Ryan. You're in what lucky city are you in?
I'm in Pensacola, Florida right now.
Pensacola, Florida.
So I'll be tomorrow in the next few days. I'll be working with a company called Suds Under Pressure. They do soft washing and pressure washing. And like I said, he's got one of our machines, and we're going to go test out some upgrades we're thinking about adding to the machine. And so I
don't know how we let this thing go 50 minutes, man. Did you?
Yeah, No, I will say there's probably one other thing I think we wanted to hit on. It may be worth just switching gears real quick. We wanted to talk about blogging for a minute, and this is kind of more talking about the business side of things rather than the machine itself. And I know you've got a lot to say about blogging, and you and I have talked a lot about this about for companies who are looking to kind of increase their online exposure.
So you're getting ready to give a testimonial out on how effective and efficient it is and how it works?
I am. I will say so.
Did you spend, first of all, did you spend a nickel other than your time?
Have not, no.
Yeah.
I will say when we first started this, our website was, if you Googled Rooftech, it was probably page 6 of Google results, I think, 6 or 8, somewhere in that range. After a few months, we're, I think, result number 4 now, maybe number 3. And that is totally organic. And what this is just a tip I want to say to everybody. And the key to that is trying to just have a presence online consistently. There's a bunch of the old forums. I know the Pressure Washing Institute and the Power Wash Network. I forget if it's Power
Wash Network.
Power Wash Network, and like the UAMCC forum. I try and post on those pretty regular or daily. If you go to like the UAMCC forum and look at recent posts, you'll probably just see my picture like 1,000 times. So be prepared for that. I promise there are more than just me on that website. But what's cool about it is it doesn't matter what you talk about. If you got something to say about pressure washing, take 2 minutes, throw your company name in there, throw a couple tips in there. And what you'll find is, and you can speak better than I can about this.
What's really cool about it is it's your audience. If you blog on Twitter, if you blog on Pinterest, if you blog, you got this. You may get 1 million hits, but they're 8-year-old kids, maybe like on TikTok. They're 8-year-old kids. The 750,000 are kids. Now, not to say that that's not good for branding, because some 8-year-old kid could see this machine, and in 10 years, the next thing you know, he's the next cleaning giant, because he remembers, hey, I saw the all-in-one RoofTEC cleaning machine, and then he goes out and buys it and starts replicating and makes a business. I mean, we need to do that type of marketing and branding too. But when you are blogging on the sites you're blogging up, you're getting in front of your customers. They're right there. It's like when you go to a landscape show, right? You're a carpet cleaning industry kind of company. Go to a landscaping show and there's 100,000 guys there, but there's only probably 300 guys in that 100,000 that would be your potential customer, because they're thinking about branching into the exterior cleaning business, or they're thinking about getting into the carpet cleaning business. Where when you talk about blogging on a very we call it an authority site. If you go, and you should look for the authority sites to blog, no matter what industry you're in. Go blog on authority sites. You know what I mean? Where there are a bunch of guys that are your customers, rather than, and I'll give these guys a little bit of a tip. Yeah, Ron's on property management sites. Ron's out there blogging on those sites. I'm doing it on my LinkedIn. Those professional buyers, they are all right there. That's where they are. They're on those sites. And why wouldn't you want to be there? Not only does it get you in front of them, it also gets you out there on the web for random people that are doing searches, getting into the business, wanting to look for the equipment. They're out there trying to find that stuff. So what's the type of search you're saying you're number 4 at? Just searching the RoofTEC machine, or exterior cleaning, or roof cleaning? I mean, where are you? Where are you at?
We're getting up there in a lot of them. I know with RoofTEC, if you just type in RoofTEC, we're number, I think 3 or 4. I could do it right now and tell you.
And you had competition because RoofTEC was technically taken up, right? RoofTEC was a actual roofing company.
Yeah, actually, close up to where I live, actually.
Right. So you had a job to do, because first of all, guys will go, well, it shouldn't be that difficult if you have a unique name. It should come up one. No, that's not true, because I actually have showed Ryan that there's a lot of times you can come up higher than even people with their own names. You can come over the top of them. And, and that's just through blogging. And like he says, he's not honed down to like one key word. You've been working on several keywords, several things you've been blogging, a lot of DIY stuff where, hey, do it yourself for contractors per se, not do it yourself homeowner, but you're out there trying to tell contractors, educate contractors. And guys, I just want you to check something out. Just instead of typing in RoofTEC, and I don't know if Ryan's done this, type in Ryan Cash exterior cleaning. And tell me what you find. And I guarantee you, you will see the results of page after page after page after page. And I can guarantee that. Ryan Cash, exterior cleaning.
Well, and I think that's the key too. So obviously I'm different from contractors because I'm selling equipment to contractors. But if you are a contractor, I think the key here is work on your name in pressure washing, or your name in soft washing, your name in power washing, whatever kind of term hits your market the best is, and most of the time it's gonna be pressure washing. But yeah, if you can get your name up of, well, we've got Sean who is watching. Sean Gross pressure washing, because certainly a customer is gonna type in your name and pressure washing if they have any questions about who you are or the kind of the legitimacy of your business. And so
it's a resume.
Yeah,
it's a resume. And if you're out there, and I'll give a little testimonial to that. I had a guy that had found me to remove this rust. He had some expensive hard surface, and it was in Scottsdale, Arizona. And he called me, and I told him the amount. I'm not going to tell you anybody the amount, but it was a pretty good amount. He goes, just a little bitty, 18 inches. My wife watered on the wrought iron deal. She had a planter, and the water dripped down the leg, and the wrought iron got the rust all over. And he goes, and you want that much just to come out to remove that? He goes, I could get the whole patio. It's 2,000 square feet clean for that. I said, okay, sir, thank you very much. You have a nice day. And if, something doesn't work out, give me a call, because you never burn the bridge. You just say, hey, give me a call. Click, hung up the phone. Guy calls back about 10 days later. He says, Ron, he says, all right, man, I know you're the guy that can get this out. I've had 4 contractors out here, and none of them can get it removed. And I said, oh man, I said, you get 4 guys come out. I said, I'm going to tell you right now, I can't guarantee that I'm going to be able to get it out now, because I don't know what they've done. I don't know what they've put on the surface, blah, 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 blah. And it was funny because I was with my son at the time, and I was trying to teach him. He goes, Dad, come on out with this thing. And we pulled up, and it was the side of the thing. And I said, hurry up, man. I said, get set up as quick as you can. We're not going to hook up to water or anything. I'm not going to need it. I said, just get it set up. I said, I want to show you something. I said, before he can go in and get his checkbook, we're going to have the stain gone, and he'll come back out, and we'll just say, hey, collect the money. And it happened just like that. We sprayed it. We rinsed it off. He was inside getting his checkbook. He came back out, and he says, you guys are already done. We were rolling up, yeah, go ahead, take a look. And he was like, you got to be kidding me, man. You weren't here 30 seconds. I said, yeah. I said, and I go, you know what, man? I said, you knew when you called me the first time I was the guy, because you found me. And because the second time you called me, you said, I know you're the guy that can take this off, because he had done enough research on my background and knew that I was the guy to call. And I go, you weren't paying for the time. I said, you were paying for my expertise and my knowledge. And by the way, I'm really glad that nobody really jacked this thing up. I said, because I was expecting to come out here and see the surface all jacked up, because I figured, these guys would try to dance on it and, use pressure when it was really just a chemical treatment is all the guy. We all know rust is just a chemical process. Right. And the rust, especially on a hard surface, a really hard surface, the harder the surface, the easier rust is to get up.
Yeah. The less porous, the better.
Yeah. I mean, and when he told me, it was an Italian tile, you're talking about, it's like probably one of the hardest substances other than ceramic in the world. You know what I mean? And always it cracks me up, because we were at the TChem event, and guy goes, how do you remove rust? I said, well, wait a minute. Let me see. Let me just try a pressure washer. And the rust came right up. You know what I mean? Like it just came right up. I go, yeah, you always try to clean it first. I said, I go, sometimes it'll just come right up. I said, because I go, and then, you always want to, when you're restoring a surface, you always want to pre-clean, right? You want to pre-clean that surface so you know you got it down to where the chemicals that you're going to use in the process are going to work, guys. There's a huge tip, and never go at stuff aggressively. No, first of all, neither with pressure nor with chemical, because when you go aggressive in a surface that's porous, you just embed the stain right into the substrate, rather than if you go mildly at it, like first time washing it with water, washing it with some soap, and then try to move into your restoration detergents, and then see, even those, don't go very harsh with them, very diluted solutions, and you want to get to 100% success. That's the way you do it. If you want to get to 98% success and go, well, it didn't all come out, go ahead and blast it, nuke it with the stuff, and what's gonna happen is it's gonna penetrate right into the substrate, and you're never gonna get it out. It's never gonna come out. So
yeah, no, I agree. Yeah,
how do we get into hard surface restoration?
Yeah, I don't know. I was gonna say, I bet that guy in Scottsdale too, probably after he was looking for other guys, probably Google searched rust removal Scottsdale and probably saw like 32 of your videos or something.
Yeah.
And that's why I called you back. And I think that's what kind of loops it all back together, is just the importance of the presence. Because I don't know how many videos you have on YouTube. But
not just the presence. It's about how about when you're talking about, the longevity, you know what I mean? Like the trust, and like, oh, this guy's been doing this for 38 years. Here's his video 38 years ago, 1990, he made a video. I mean, they, at that point, if you're still been in business, they got to understand, what you're doing. You know what I mean? That's the reality of it. Well, we went now an hour and 1 minute, again, completely against my, my judgment.
That's so, we had one more question pop up. How will I answer that last? So what's the max house you think we could run off this rig? 400 to 600 feet. Max hose probably is what it's supposed to be. Yeah, you could probably run 600 feet off of it. I haven't tried. I mean, we've got guys who run 300 feet off of it pretty easily with no downside. So I would imagine 600 feet wouldn't be a problem. I can't say for sure because I've never done it. But at the same time, I don't know how often you're going to need 600 feet of hose, especially if you're doing residential. I mean, 300 is quite a bit of hose for a residential home. But at the same time, if you're going up super high or out far off on a dock or something, you need extra feet. I don't see it being a problem, but yeah, I won't commit to a distance without having personally tested it. But yeah, I mean, I think that was all I had to, as far as, like you said, online presence, building your resume. And I would just encourage everyone to get out there and
start. It's more than reviews, isn't it? Reviews are great, but at the day's end, it's more than reviews. I mean, reviews are good. Don't kid yourself. Customers will sell you better than anybody can sell you. They'll sell you better than you can sell yourself. And that's why we're in such, I don't want to say times changing, because let's face it, Google's been around now for, 15, 16 years. So, it's been out there, and it's been the reference for the company. It's the new yellow pages, right? I mean, everybody, if you got a Google, and here's another thing too, make sure you get your Google business listing, your Google, they used to call it Google Local, but now they call it, I guess Google Local sounded funny, but it was kind of a twist on words. But it's your business listing page. Always get that, guys. It's free. It's always free.
Yeah, I think similar to like how everyone has their opinion about yard signs and about the signs they stick on street corners. I personally think that the value of those signs is much more in brand recognition than phone calls. And I could be wrong. Maybe someone could certainly prove me wrong about that. But I think the idea is people see your company logo enough, and when they Google, I need a pressure washer to come clean my house, they see your logo. It's like, oh, they may not know where they've seen it before, but they've seen it. And so I think just being recognized is a huge part of the battle. And that's where having kind of your presence built up online can help with that as well.
Okay, both basic guys just talking between themselves. Okay, that's good. So, well, hey man, it was a blast having you on tonight. Like I said, you're the longest show in my history of my making videos.
Yeah, sorry to talk too much.
But that's okay, man. I mean,
Yeah.
we took a span off here. I'm gonna have to redo the title because we did talk about the blogging, we talked about the chemistry. Just to recap, we talked about the all-in-one machine. You know what I mean?
Yep.
We did that. We talked about how important inhibitors are to not destroy metals and substrates, and they're very important to have in, and they're going to have the longevity of your equipment as well. And we also talked a little bit about being out there and just blogging organically and using authority sites rather than just relying on Twitter and Pinterest and all these other sites. Go out there and find the authority sites. And another one, guys, when you're going to go to a Facebook group, guys all the time ask me, how do I get in with the homeowners associations? How do I get into these associations? Go to their groups. The homeowners in those communities, they're in groups, man. And you know what? And they'll let you in as long as you don't act a fool and spam them and stuff like that. Right. But I mean, they'll let you in, especially if you watch the president's house for free. I mean, he might even do a little nice little post in there for you, and then you're on your way. I mean, guys don't think about that stuff. It's free advertising. Well, nothing's free because your time is more valuable than anybody's time, but you get out there and you get your name out there. And like you said, we're not Coca-Cola. We don't have $80 billion for everybody to recognize our logo worldwide. But if you get it in front of your audience, we could absolutely make our logo familiar and recognizable, especially if we get the brand in front of enough. If we're doing our organic blogging to get organic hits, if we're buying AdWords, if we're using Facebook ads, and we're doing those types of things, and then we're also engaging in regular social media with real people, rather than I say customers instead of contractors. You know what I mean? Why am I in front of contractors? Why does everybody know who I am? Because for 37 years, I've been doing what I do, educating in the industry and an advocate for moving the industry forward. Because I think as contractors improve across the board, right? We all improve. We all are held to a higher standard. If you don't have any competition, what's going to happen? There's going to be no ingenuity. And it's why, guaranteed, we talked about on this show, where's RoofTEC 2.0? I guarantee you that somebody's got a napkin and they've already drawn on that napkin 2.0 and what it's going to look like. I mean, and I'm not saying it's a napkin, guys. I'm sure they use CAD for this, but somebody's already thought about that, because we all know somebody's going to copy the machine. They're going to copy the machine. So they've got to come out with another version. And sometimes I think maybe it's a smart idea that you didn't come out with I don't want to say the right version. I say you're testing the waters. You tested it in the residential thing. You're selling this to a lot of guys with larger scale businesses, and they're going to be out there replicating and repeating this process. And I don't think contractors understand. I don't think RoofTEC, I'm just going to say this, guys, RoofTEC Systems isn't looking necessarily, they'll sell it to the one-man band guy, but I really don't believe this machine was designed for the one-man band. Now, of course, it's not going to stop the one-man band guy from buying it and building 10 trucks and making a 10-truck business, but it was really the entire engineering was thought about for bigger companies. It really was.
Yeah,
I mean, you can just see it. You can just see it. With that said, it was good having you on here tonight, Ryan. We appreciate RoofTEC coming on. Guys, we're going to head on out and get some shut-eye because we talked too late. Ryan's in a hotel room. I'm sure he's gonna want to pass out here soon. We love it, guys. It's been great. And look for Ryan at the Huge on August
17, 18, 19, I think.
Do you know your booth number?
No.
Okay. Look for him. You don't know his booth number. Maybe on the next show we'll have it.
Yeah,
but hey, we'll
I'll
see you there,
out.
guys. Nashville. Talk to you guys later, guys. Ron Musgraves, Pressure Washing Institute, Contractors First. We are out.